Yeah, I used to do karate in middle school. I don't think my shit fits me anymore. But let's talk about Karate Kid Legends. Hey guys, AGYT Abbott here. Welcome to my review of Karate Kid Legends. I wanted to do the review with that on the whole time, but frankly, it's crushing my brain. So this is a follow-up to the Karate Kid franchise. Of course, I've only seen the original Karate Kid film and Karate Kid 2010, starring Jaden Smith and Jackie Chan. And of course, we have Ralph Macchio returning from the original Karate Kid for this movie, as well as Jackie Chan as Mr. Han. So yeah, this was a really cool idea. I was like, alright, I'm in. I haven't been introduced to the Karate Kid franchise, so I'm gonna watch a few movies. So I watched the original, and I watched the 2010 version. Really enjoyed both of them. That first movie, that original, is a fucking awesome time. I loved that one. And I was looking forward to this. Trailers looked interesting. I was interested to see, obviously Mr. Han coming back, as well as Daniel LaRusso. I haven't seen Cobra Kai either, so I don't have any knowledge of that going into this. So if there were references to any of that, I'm sorry, it went clear right over my head. But for the most part, I think I was very in tune with what this movie was having happen in its story and the references and stuff like that. So let's get into the actual film. So we have Ben Wang here playing Li Feng, and he is coming from Beijing over to New York with his mother, played by Ming-Na Wen, who was in Star Wars Mandalorian Book of Boba Fett. She was great in that, and here they have come to New York, and he's trying to basically adjust to this change because he was being trained under Mr. Han, played by Jackie Chan, and he's going over to New York. He doesn't have any friends, so he befriends this girl who is played by the same actress that played Kim Possible in the live-action Kim Possible movie, which is dog shit. But here, she's not dog shit. Thankfully, I found that her and Ben Wang have a good chemistry together, even if the way that the story goes and the many things that it's trying to tackle, it kind of feels like the relationship is often pushed to the side, like the relationship with the mother. Ming-Na Wen is really background character material in this. We have this backstory with him involving his brother that I'll get to in a second. If you guys haven't seen the film, by the way, before I get into all that, this will contain spoilers. I should have said that a little bit ago, but yeah, this will be containing spoilers for, I guess, the original Karate Kid and Karate Kid 2010 and this movie. So I don't know, but yeah, here we go. There's a backstory with Lee's family where he lost his brother. They won a tournament under Mr. Han's teaching, and then his brother got jumped by these other guys that he beat, and he was sadly killed. They pulled a knife on him, and he was killed, and Lee kind of froze up. And ever since then, his mom's been very against fighting, even though that is hardly looked at or developed in this movie. Like, there's one moment where she comes into the room with him, and she's like, I understand why you feel like you don't want to fight for these people or whatever, go kick his ass. There's not really too much emotion. The emotional beats in this movie just don't hit. Not as much as the original movie, not as much as the 2010 version. Everything in this movie kind of feels like the lesser version of those two stories. It just doesn't fully encapsulate the heart of the story as well. Where you have the first 40 minutes of this movie is Lee coming to New York, meeting this girl, meeting her dad, befriending the dad, discovering that her dad needs to pay off these loan sharks. And these loan sharks have this guy that's the ex-boyfriend of the daughter, and they put Lee into this competition later on in the movie to fight the guy to earn money to help the restaurant, but the dad wants to help the restaurant first, so he's like, I need to be trained for this boxing match. So then in a Karate Kid movie, we are watching a boxing training. We are watching Lee train the dad kung fu, but through boxing. And then the boxing match happens, and then, of course, he loses, and Lee freezes up again, and the girl is like, oh, thanks a lot for freezing up on him and, encouraging him to do this, and now he's hurt. And she gets pissed off at him, and then you go through the whole thing of, it just feels so, I don't know, not melodramatic. Yeah, I guess melodramatic, because I wasn't feeling anything from the drama here. where, like I said, the first 40 minutes of this movie is the boxing adult, not the karate kid. Han, convinces him, you need to sign up for this tournament, the 5 boroughs. They all put up their best fighters and they fight in this tournament. And then he trains, and then Mr. Han goes and gets Ralph Macchio, Daniel LaRusso, which really doesn't have too much reason to go do this. He's, Mr. Han is just like, all right, I will see you in New York. And he's like, Mr. Han, I'm not going to New York. And then lo and behold, he goes to New York to help. And then he only gives really like one line where I'm like, okay, that's some explanation, where he's like, whenever there's a chance to pass on Miyagi's legacy and his teachings, it's never the wrong answer, or it's never the wrong choice. But it doesn't really, that's just such a cop-out way of explaining why he'd be there. It just doesn't make sense to me. So they're definitely using that nostalgia, trying to use that nostalgia of, take jacket on, jacket off, and then, Daniel teaching him, it's mixing in Miyagi karate with Mr. Han Kung Fu. It's mixing Kung Fu and karate, and there's also boxing in this movie. What the fuck is this? There's so much going on. There's too many different storylines being focused on for these emotional bits to shine through, and they don't. There's flashbacks with the brother. They don't feel as emotional and as earned as the emotional moments, like in the original Karate Kid, when we discover Miyagi's backstory and what happened with his wife, or in the 2010 version, where we learn what happened to Mr. Han's wife and child, and the car accident. There's nothing like that in here that evokes anywhere near as amount of emotion as those moments did. Now, Ben Wang does a great job here. I think he has a great charisma. He reminded me of that Ralph Macchio, young, Daniel LaRusso charisma that he had in the original film. Sadly, we don't get a Jaden Smith cameo in here. That was sad. Although I'm seeing discourse on the internet, I was like, maybe that was a good thing, which I don't keep up with Jaden Smith, okay? I don't know what he's been up to, what he's been doing, but evidently Will Smith was like, keep my son's name out your fucking mouth and out of this movie. It's not in here. But, really, when it comes down to it, it's just such a standard Karate Kid movie, and this franchise deserves so much better than just standard, emotionless. The emotional beats are not there. The comedy, the action, is great. The great choreography is still here, but there's not any standout moments from this movie, whereas the 2010 version and the original version have plenty of standout moments, but here, I don't think I'll remember this movie at all. Really, like a month or two later down the line, I might have to watch it with my dad because he likes Karate Kid. I'll watch it with him, and then after that, I don't think I'll remember this one. So, unfortunately, Karate Kid Legends is getting a 6 out of 10. I was very disappointed with this movie. I thought that it was going to be not the best of the franchise, not at all, but, like, my god, have some fucking emotion. The development just wasn't there. Like I said, the actors do have chemistry with each other. It's nice to see Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio back, and it's even nice to see Johnny in the ending. At the very end, he's there hanging out with Daniel, so it was nice to see him. But really, that's it. Just some bits of nostalgia, some comedy and action, and the characters are really all I really got out of this movie, but none of it is even that memorable. So, let me know what you thought of Karate Kid Legends down in the comments below. Did you study karate at one point in your life? How did that go? Tell me all that down in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, and goodbye.